A hot storm is believed to be building gradually as Toke Makinwa's estranged husband finally reacts to her tell-it-all book, Unbecoming. Ayida, who is married to Makinwa for about 2 years, made series of demands in his letter sent to the media girl and also threatens legal action if the demands were not met. Well, joining us to help us understand what is going on is media and entertainment lawyer Olumide Mustafa. Thank you for joining us on the program.
My pleasure.
Maje has threatened legal action if his demands, which include total withdrawal of the controversial books from circulation. Does he have a legal footing for such?
On the face of it, it seems so. But these things are all subject to what can be proved or proven, should I say, in court. Now, in our law legal system, under the civil tort of defamation, one has to establish 3 elements, and he has to establish those elements on the balance of the probabilities. So the elements that Maje would have to establish to succeed in a claim of defamation would firstly be that a statement was made by Toke which is untrue and damaging to his reputation. I think it's safe to say the comments in the book satisfy that requirement. The second element would be he has to show that Toke either intentionally, as in she knew, or reasonably ought to have known that those statements would have done damage to his reputation. And finally, he has to show that he actually suffered damage from the statements that Toke made. So if he can establish all those elements on what I say is the balance of probability, then of course he'd succeed in his claim. In some of the things they're actually requesting in the letter that's been circulating in the media, obviously these are standard things, but some of them seem a bit unrealistic, sort of such as recalling books that have already been sold and burning all books with all the excerpts in it. So we'll see how it all turns out, but it's very interesting, I must say.
But the book has been promoted and distributed outside the shores of the country. If Maje wants to go to court and get a judgment, would this be binding outside Nigeria?
No, not in the first instance. Any judgments he obtains in a Nigerian court would be binding within the territory of Nigeria only. Now, there are ways through various treaties and ratification agreements whereby people can enforce judgments received in one country in another jurisdiction. The way that usually works is one has to take a copy of that judgment and it's got to be transmitted in some way to the registrar of the court in another country in which you want to enforce it, and then it's judgment by registration is what it's called. So there are ways to enforce it, but in the first instance, the judgment in and by itself can't be enforced in another jurisdiction without following the proper process.
The book has also been labeled a bestseller in recent times. Since the book is about Maje as well as it's about Toke, could he sue for profit sharing besides defamation of character?
Well, just to be clear, first of all, the answer is yes. There are bases under which he could try and request a cut of the funds, but not under the tort of defamation. I just want to make that clear. What he can ask the court for in an action for defamation is damages to put him in a position he would have otherwise been in had he not suffered that damage. So it's really to try and put him back, to restore him to what he was. Now, specifically, it wouldn't be asking for a cut of the book, because if asking for a cut of the book would sort of be implying that he doesn't mind that the book is out there. He should complain that he's not getting a cut of the proceeds. So if he wanted a cut of the proceeds, it would have to be under a different action, which would possibly be under the law of public use of one's image, publicity, the right of publicity. So under that, everybody has a right to prevent other people from using their image or likeness or information about them for commercial purposes without their permission. So under that species of law, there might be some possible angles, but under the tort of defamation, no, I would say that he wouldn't really be able to seek any cut of the actual fund Toke makes under that sort of civil suit.
Now, speaking about defamation, one could argue that since the writer is directly writing about her own experience, she should be immune from a lawsuit.
Well, absolutely. There are defences, obviously, to any claims or allegations of defamation. To quickly to quickly highlight them, the first main one is alluding to exactly what you're saying, which is justification, and that is that it's a true statement. You can't be sued successfully for defamation if the statement you make is true. A key element is that it has to be an untrue statement that, as I said, causes damage to another person. There are other defences, such as privilege, if someone's in a position of authority and part of exercising his duties means he needs to have the freedom to express himself without malice, which might result in somebody's reputation being harmed. That can cover that sort of person, namely judges or legislators. And there are other types of defences as well. But what you're speaking about, as I said, goes to the defence of justification. So if it does turn out that what she is saying is true, then of course that would provide an absolute defence against any and all claims, specifically against the allegations.
Thank you, Mustafa, for joining us on the programme.